Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by an ACS Discord server called Nah I Bug, which offers a yapper role to people that yap the most about this game. So hopefully after this video I deem worthy of carrying this role for myself. So anyway, let's jump right into it. So freaking update 9, the long awaited Galaxy 2 update that has been postponed for pretty much 3 weeks to drop this weekend, and a lot of people are fucking pissed off, but to be honest, the update is actually pretty decent. It's not bad. Now, there's a lot of things that I think people don't really grasp about this update and the game in general. Now, obviously, everybody knows that the game is not looking good, right? Like, there's no content, and if they don't update every single week, the game literally just completely flops. But, you know, they could have easily just said, you know what, the game is problematic, fuck it, we're gonna go work on a new one. But instead you see they're trying to fix stuff, right? So while there's not too much content added into the game, like there has been a lot of work in fixing and trying to balance stuff. This update, like you see, they pretty much just revamped how the entire thing works with the DPS and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that took a while. I don't think it's that complicated, maybe I'm wrong, but obviously it was a lot of work. And you know, for a lot of people, like stuff like that go unnoticed, because a lot of people will say, you know, I just want gameplay, I don't care if it says DPS here or just damage. But yeah, there's pretty much a lot of like things that have been added to try to make the game a little bit better. Now they did add sort of this class introduction with the differentiation of like some punch builds versus some ultimate builds and stuff like that. They really need to work on them a lot more. As of right now, a warrior is just outperforming literally anything else. The warrior graphics, which is basically your punch build. It does 2 times more damage than the mage build, so there will be balancing soon. Like, balancing was not really there. And on top of that, the new quirks kind of feel useless. Apparently, after testing, Titan Celestial plus double warrior graphics is the best. So like the new affix boxer doesn't even do better than Titan plus Celestial, which is kind of weird. So there is that needs to be addressed, and there is a whole bunch of other things that need to be addressed. Although you see that they're basically trying to sort of kickstart the game again with a better perspective. So slowly, like a lot of things will be added. Now again, there's some issues that there's literally no content, right? Like that's what most people are saying. Like, okay, sure, all of this happened, like Galaxy 2 and all of this stuff, and sure, this stuff is nice, but there is no content. And to be honest, that is true. Like at the moment, all you can do is just open eggs and farm raids. Like there's nothing else to do. Like tower is pretty much done. They said that they're gonna revamp the tower or something. I don't exactly know what they're planning to do with it, but apparently tower stops at 200. So even tower, which was pretty much also very one-sided content, is also donezo. There's nothing to do, and yeah, it's just like literally opening and raiding. Now, here's the problem, guys. I think the reason why the game feels turbo dry, despite all of these things, is because like there has been what's the word? Let me Google it. Actually, I don't know the exact word that I want to use right now. Give me just a quick second. Okay, saturation. Like the Roblox, like the anime simulators have been saturated. Everything is literally the same, and the reason why Anime Fighters was like so, I guess, overhyped and, well, not overhyped, like overloved, is because it was something new, right? But ever since then, every game has been trying to do the same thing, and you know, people just have really high expectations at this point. And obviously the game like is always working from behind, because they just like rushed to release early, seeing how AFS just turbo flopped at the time with the boss sinking the ship, straight up sinking the ship after just a few weeks. And yeah, there's like they've been behind ever since. Now obviously there is more people in the team right now than at the start, but you know, at the end of the day, you have to just realize that, you know, Direb has 1 brain, 2 hands, and 24 hours in a day. Despite as many as is working, you know, we don't really know what's happening, right? Like at the end of the day, everyone has their own lives. There is stuff that can show up unexpectedly, but yeah, like there's also much that one person can do. Now it's 2 of them. So slowly but steadily, like the game is probably gonna be the game that they intended the game to be. It just takes time, and yeah, like I said earlier, you know, credit to Direb, you know, they're trying to fix the game, you know, slowly but steadily. Like they're making things that don't really seem big, but in reality, like they're gonna end up adding on top of each other. Now they said that eventually they wanted to add some sort of dungeon system, which could be also good. Like, as I said, the game like really needs content, and that's because of the saturation. Like, people, you know, they have like standards anymore, and you know, just opening for new units and stuff like that just doesn't really cover it anymore. It's just not enough. It doesn't feel enough. Now, there is a lot of other reasons that I could discuss as to why the game doesn't really feel as rewarding, even if it's just like opening and like farming quicks and stuff for your units, but I'm not really gonna talk about that at all. I really don't wanna actually share my perspective on that, but that doesn't really matter. But nonetheless, like, all in all, this was a pretty good update. Now, some issues with Galaxy 2. Apparently, for a lot of the player base, Galaxy 2 is extremely hard. I actually thought it wasn't pretty hard, but there's people who even struggle to complete the raid to reach Galaxy 2. And even if you reach Galaxy 2, like, okay, I'm not the strongest player in the game, but I would say easily my team puts me in the top 1% of the game, like having all of those units. And it's really hard to farm Dark Matter. They nerfed Dark Matter at all. They really nerfed it a lot, and you know, like, Galaxy 2 is really hard. Now, I know they said that they want it to be hard, but is it really good? Like, you know, it's very easy for somebody like to lose interest, you know, like, if they can't scratch the game at all, and by the game I mean Galaxy 2, like, is there really a point to, you know, play? Like, a lot of people might lose interest due to that, I feel like, and I know that a lot of people who actually quit this update, because well, they were kind of fed up with a little bit of everything, how hard the game is, the bugs, the delays and stuff like that. But yeah, I think how hard Galaxy 2 is in comparison to the previous game doesn't really justify this jump in power. Like, look at this, right? So let's compare every single unit, right? So this guy from Land of Giants is 26. This one should be the same probably. I don't know why they all don't change all of the levels. I'll just set everything to one by one. And we can just check that out. 1, and this one should be level 1. All right. Oh, come on, man. Oh, I guess they're just set to the level that you hatched them. Okay, that makes sense actually. That actually makes sense. All right. Just give me a quick second, guys. But yeah, like, the power jump / difficulty range doesn't really match up. So we go from a 26 average common damage to a 33. That is not really such a big power jump. Obviously, these are very small numbers, so let's go ahead and just compare the Captain. So Captain is at 268, and we go to a Whitebeard who's at 336, right? So 268, I think that's like 25% if I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it is actually 25%. So it's a 25% jump, but I feel like the difficulty degree spikes so much from Galaxy 1 to Galaxy 2 that it doesn't really justify it. Like, if you could like introduce the idea to people where, you know, a mythical from Galaxy 2 is equal sort of to a Galaxy 1 cosmic, that might have helped people progress through the game a lot. As I said, I'm an endgame player, and look at this, guys, I am literally just forced to farm with a coin team, with my damage team and a coins boost to be able to sustain myself opening, because Dark Matter is just extremely hard to farm, and they nerfed like how much the mobs drop, so that kind of feels underwhelming. And yeah, like, also a lot of people just not being able to complete the scenario to get to Galaxy 2 is also a bummer. It's very demotivating, so I don't know, I feel like something needs to be done there, because people just, you know, they can't keep up, and it's very normal to lose interest, you know. Like, sure, you can make the argument that Galaxy 2, you know, you are supposed to be strong in order to achieve that, and I understand it, but like, it's very, very bad for player experience, you know, while everybody's, you know, oh, the new Galaxy, the new map, and, you know, the latest map, and like, you just can't get there. You know that you're putting time and effort into the game, you are playing the game, but you can't reach Galaxy 2. I think that's something that needs to be fixed, but nonetheless, besides that, like, there is some pretty nice stuff like added in this update. The maps are insane. I've said this many times before. I don't know, this guy Wisdom is cooking. Is actually cooking. Like, things are like good aesthetically, everything is like pleasing. It's just like that there's like some stuff that need to be adjusted, and I think balancing needs to do a much better work. Like, introducing 2 new quirks and them being worse than Titan Celestial feels kinda bad in terms of balancing, and like, obviously Warrior being that much better than Mage is also crazy. I think there was a spreadsheet somewhere, it's made by Basu. Titan Celestial Double Warrior does 13.7 QT, I don't know, I think it's Q, 13.7 Q or whatever, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but I'm just gonna talk numbers, right? Like, no, 137 trillion, sorry. Like, Titan Celestial Double Warrior does 137 trillion, and the Mage build did 67 or something, 66 or 67. Like, it is honestly really bad, balance-wise, that something is just that much different. Obviously, you know, something has to be different from the two, or they have to be really close to each other. But something being 2 times as strong is crazy. So balancing needs to happen soon, and I believe that we will see balancing pretty soon. Now, I would highly advise you guys to save all of your scrap for when the balancing happens. Will Warriors still stay on top, just slightly better than Mage? Will Mage get better? So just hold on your scrap for now, that would be my assumption. And we're waiting to see what happens with the new update. Now, another thing that people have been saying, there's no orb enhancers and stuff like that on map 2. I think, my personal opinion, the last map should not have orb enhancers. And I would argue that even the last 2 maps should not have orb enhancers. Actually, I don't know, maybe last 2 should be a little bit far stretched, but I think the current map, on the latest map on a current update, should not have orb enhancers. Like, there should be a reason why it is hard. Now, again, that would probably prompt people to just open until they get 5 copies of a unit just to make an Ascension 3 unit and then go back to open for Godless, which is also fine, if you ask me. Now, I don't know if that's also nice as an idea for how the game should be played, but that's most likely what's going to end up happening. But yeah, I'm totally fine with not having orb enhancers. Also, the thing is, they changed the luck system this time around, and every orb has the same luck chance. Like, throughout every update in Galaxy 2, there will be exactly the same odds for Cosmic Unit. Like, for example, Mythical right now has 0.17%. Mythical on the next map is going to have the exact same percentage. It's not going to drop. So there's much more linear progression, I guess, which is definitely not bad. We don't know the odds yet, but I think it's 1 in 4 hours with just your average luck, like the 32 luck. And if I actually go back to the luck odds system, let me check it out. Okay, there's actually made a list was actually made by a person called The Coves, so shout out to him for making this list. And apparently it's 1 in 3.1 million capsules for an open. It sounds kind of absurd. I don't know if that's actually true. It seems way too much. And honestly, I averaged 1 in 1 hour with max luck, which was really good. Let me see. So 124, that is 20,000 opens. Apparently it says that it's supposed to be 1 in a half hour. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. I averaged 1 in 1 hour with max luck. So yeah, like, the thing is, it's much more simple if the progression is linear. So there is a whole bunch of good stuff, all in all. You also have your season pass, you have some free stuff, and you can buy those. 30,000 gems, how much does that equal to Robux actually? I don't know. I spoke a little bit about season pass yesterday, and let me see. 30,000 gems is about 556, 600 Robux. So one costs 600 Robux, the other costs 500 Robux. So yeah, I don't know if you want to go grab them. But is there anything else in this update, all in all? Well, there is collaboration with Deathball, there's a bunch of other stuff as well. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's literally nothing else. Now, the game just needs content, but there's definitely improvements. So yeah, I don't know. Game is not in a horrible spot. We'll just see how the development carries onwards. So hopefully there will be some new stuff that will attract player base back to the game. But yeah, development is pretty good. Like, this update was good, despite it seeming extremely empty for a 3-week period. Like, as I said, like, there's a lot of stuff in the background that just make the game better, while they're not really straight up visible. So yeah, it's not all that bad. So we're just gonna wait and see what's gonna happen in the future. But anyway, this is already a 14-minute video, and I assume most of you guys already dipped, because it's just a bunch of blah blah while I'm opening capsules that nobody really gives a shit about. But yeah, nonetheless, if you still watched, type in the chat, or rather in the comments, type Python Empress. Yeah, let's type the unit's name. Python Empress,